Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned to CNN News 18. Well, let's talk about how the world is viewing the visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Russia. The Prime Minister is back in India, but the entire world, including India's Western allies, have been closely watching and monitoring what was unfolding in Moscow, especially the hug shared between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Vladimir Putin. And in the latest, we have a reaction that's come in from US Ambassador to India, Eric Garcetti, who in fact commented on the Prime Minister's visit, says, I respect that India likes its strategic autonomy, but in times of conflict, there is no such thing as strategic autonomy. Listen in.
It's important for us as Americans and as Indians to remember the more we put into this relationship, the more we will get out. The more we insist on kind of cynical calculation in the place of trusted relationship, the less we will get. But as I also remind my Indian friends, while it is wide and it is deeper than it's ever been, it is not yet deep enough. That if we take it for granted from the Indian side towards America, I'll fight a lot of defensive battles trying to help this relationship ahead.
Let me quickly take in a word from my colleague Anand Narsimhan joining us with more. Anand, how do you view this comment by the US ambassador? He's largely been fond of India. He's always had good things to say about India. But like we've all been discussing, US was one country to be closely monitoring the Prime Minister's visit to Russia. Do you think this is a little bit of a muscle flexing on part of the United States?
Well, this is how America will speak. America is trying to pressure India into taking a position for Ukraine, for NATO, against Russia, which India is not going to do. No, it's quite rich coming from America talking about a relationship that is not deep enough and that should be based on trust. But which side was America on when Pakistan tried to attack us in 1999, waging a proxy war? When terrorists are waging a proxy war against Bharat, which side is America on? Have they given us open access to David Coleman Hetley yet? Are they not? Have they condemned Canada for backing someone who's a terrorist and a wanted man in Hardeep Nichar? Has America acted on Gurpatwan Pannu, who's been banned and whose organization has been banned and he's been labeled a terrorist? Has America really walked the walk and talked the talk as far as fighting terrorism is concerned? So in times of conflict, they want us to take a position, but in terms of a proxy war that's being waged against Bharat, what has America been doing? Has its dollars not funded Pakistan's proxy war against Bharat over the last 3 decades? So there are a lot of questions that can be asked back of the Americans too, but clearly this is towing the same line as President Biden, President Zelensky, who was upset. He was the first one to react negatively to the hug that Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave to President Vladimir Putin. But this is friendship. There are two friends, and friends may have differences on certain aspects, and Bharat's relationship with Russia is far older and greater than Bharat's recent strengthening of ties with the US. And yes, as Ambassador Garcetti said, it's not deep enough. And to increase the depth, even America needs to walk the walk and try and build that trust. America also needs to come back and ensure that elements don't inimical to Bharat and its sovereignty don't operate out of its soil or any of its allies. And then it has to live up to its end of the bargain. So I think that we will wait for a response from the MEA and from the Foreign Ministry, but we're sure that Bharat is going to continue to walk this walk. The other thing is that perhaps Ambassador Garcetti and the US and the NATO have missed the fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi seems to be the only person who has the ear of President Putin and also has the ear of President Biden. And he's in a unique position, which perhaps Ambassador Garcetti should appreciate, that it was in front of them, the world, that Prime Minister said that he is very, very encouraged with what President Putin's position is and that Bharat is ready to play a role to try and broker peace and perhaps resolve this entire conflict and bring a solution. It was there in front of President Putin that Bharat also said very clearly that yes, we are friends, but as a friend, I would also suggest that the solutions to battle and war are not going to be found in the battlefield. They have to be found when you sit in front of each other over dialogue and diplomacy. So if America is unwilling to appreciate that here is a world leader, here is a leader who can talk to all sides and who can actually bring, conflicting sides or differing sides to the same table, then perhaps Ambassador Garcetti should have appreciated that too. Sadly, what one would want to read is that America is forcing or trying to push Bharat into a corner to try and toe its line. So that itself, again, is hegemonistic, and that's not something that advocates for multilateralism and for nations to choose their friends and their relationships.
Absolutely. And as far as India goes, there is a greater realization, and our leaders have spoken, about it, that at the end of the day, it is to each his own, as has been shown by United States as well, when United States is pushed to that position. Many thanks, Anand, for putting that in perspective.